Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mandy, and I'm here today at the clinic that I help manage, and it's a wellness clinic where there's chiropractic and applied kinesiology, and I'll soon be offering my Reiki and nutrition as well too. And I just love being here, and I love being in a setting where people know that they're gonna come and they're gonna get the care that they need, and most importantly, they have an attitude that is open-minded to holism or holistic healing. And the more I work with people and work with clients and create new recipes for life in bloom, the more I think about the different conversations that I'll have with some people, but I don't actually have with a lot of people, and therefore I feel like a lot kind of goes unsaid, and there might be even missing pockets, so to speak, in the content I share. So this video is about why I decided to stop being vegan after 8 years. And for those who had followed my channel for that period of time or in the period before, you probably noticed some different changes over the years, and you probably also noticed that the way I look and even the way I present myself, and of course my own understanding, like everyone who grows and matures, has changed. And with that, my attitude and understanding of health, not only as a nutritionist, but as an individual who wants to feel really good in their body and also wants to give solid advice to others, that outlook has shifted as well. So my journey began when I got really sick when I was around the age of 15 years old. And by sick, I mean, honestly, like mentally ill. And I say that because I was battling chronic cystic acne. I was lethargic all the time. I was overweight. I had very bad anxiety and depression, and a list of other issues like difficulty breathing, things like that. And I, like everyone else, hadn't been taught how to fuel my body, how to live in a way that would support my health and help me not only be able to think better, but feel better and overall, have a better effect on the world and environment too. So I was really sick, and the way I tried to cope was by getting very controlling and trying to control everything about my diet. And so I developed several eating disorders. There was anorexia, where I would go days with barely eating, and then when I did snap, I would practice bulimia, which was throwing it all up, and then having really intense binge purge cycles with bouts of bulimia as well too, and then over exercising. So for instance, there'd be a day where I maybe had 100 calories of soup, and I would track that meticulously as well, and then I would go run for 6 miles and then go to soccer practice on top of that, and basically just try and pretend like everything was fine, because my inner dialogue was I didn't matter, and everyone hated me and all these different things, which wasn't true, but like I said, I was going through mental illness in many ways. So my spiritual connection with God or universe or spirit is a big component in what helped save me. It's what I share, and it's what I wholeheartedly believe. And from the ability to wake up, I was introduced to vegetarianism and later veganism, and then later raw veganism. And I was hardcore raw vegan for probably 4 to 5 years, and I worked at holistic healing centers. I became really proficient in creating raw and vegan food, and would have some flirtations with wanting to incorporate things back into my diet because I was having issues after about year 1, honestly. But due to guilt and shame over eating animals and feeling like I didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle, I didn't understand all of nutrition either, I just kind of continued on with it. And as we should, I continued to learn more and more over the years, and as issues arose in my own body, like eroding tooth enamel or the inability to think and function after I was dangerously low in some healthy fats that the brain needs and the body needs, not only to create hormones, but to literally, like I said, think. So there was a lot going on. Stuff I'm sure I could have lived with, but I didn't want to, because once again, as someone who is trying to teach health to others, I feel like I need to be a living example of that. And I didn't feel good in my body. I was still carrying extra weight. My face was really puffy because my adrenals were exhausted and I wasn't giving myself the stuff it needs. And so there was a point about 3-4 years ago where I had to really sit down and have a deep conversation with myself, and it's a conversation I literally have every day because there's still going to be parts of me that doesn't like to eat animals. However, I know from a biochemical perspective, I know from an ancestral understanding of who I come from and what my family and genes are like, and also I know what it's like when I feed my body the food it's asking for and how I behave on top of that. I couldn't keep living a lie. I couldn't keep up this facade of, perfect vegan person, which I hope I never put out because I am definitely not that person and I'm definitely not perfect, but just the idea that you can do it all on a vegan diet. Hey, vegan food is delicious. I love making it. At least 80 to 90% of my meals and snacks and drinks are all vegan. However, I wholeheartedly believe that there are certain nutrients, wow, that was hard to say, specifically vitamin D, vitamin K, vitamin A, that are hard to get enough of in bioavailable forms from only plant-based foods. And I'm someone who, first of all, I don't have a ton of money to spend on supplements, and I don't think that's an effective or sustainable way to have health. I think food should be a primary form of medicine, and that's what I teach. And so in the spirit of thinking, if I was in the wild, what foods would I eat to get these nutrients that I'm clearly missing out on after doing different blood panels and tracking my own macro and micronutrient intake, where am I going to get these nutrients and how am I going to do it intelligently? And that 100% of the time led me back to the understanding that I personally need the inclusion of animal products, and they can still be vegetarian animal products, but my body needs them and it needs more protein in order to function efficiently. So I'm definitely not the only person or quote YouTuber, I guess, to go vegan for a period of time and then come out and be like, I'm not vegan anymore, and then get shit on. And I have been getting shit on for years, but it's only by a few people, and at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. So this is important though, because especially in the health world, there's a notion that you have to eat clean, and you have to eat pure, and you have to do all these things, and you have to be perfect, and that's a form of orthorexia. It's not healthy. As someone who is very OCD and anal retentive, I recognize these things and I call them out specifically when it comes to the diet, because having a restrictive mentality and having negative self-talk based on what you eat and having negative self-worth based on what you eat and can breathe and put on your skin, all those things, it can be very crippling. And at the end of the day, we are all here to learn and relearn love, okay? And we want to feel good. We want to be healthy. But to do that, we have to listen to our bodies, which brings me to the topic of intuitive eating. Now, I tried for years to get those very critical missing nutrients from plant-based sources, but it just wasn't working for me. And so when I sat down and I had that sort of deep heart-to-heart with myself, part of it was really tuning in to my body, the animal that she is in many forms, that reptilian brain, and just the base level consciousness of this body to determine what do you need to thrive. And the answers I received, more like impressions or feelings or cravings for foods, which were all whole food, which were all like one ingredient really, didn't align with the previous belief system I had set up. And so I was hurting myself on a long-term basis, causing issues to my teeth, and not helping with hormones and keeping my blood sugar high because I was relying on too many easily metabolized carbohydrates to keep me going. It just didn't do any good, essentially. So I had to make peace with that and decide that I was going to eat certain foods and supplement with things that are animal-based, and I am now okay with that. But I know there are a lot of other people who are struggling, and also they just aren't really sure where to go either. Mainstream media says, oh, veganism is the way and it's healthy and it's great. And once again, I love vegan food. But when we put ourselves in boxes, when we start adding labels, we create division. And it's not just in food, it's how we relate to each other. I don't know if you've noticed, but our world is so much more divided than it ever has been. And I mean, I would assume so with the amount of technology and the fact that we're aware of each other and all the different people who don't believe with us or believe the same things we do, But when it comes to food, when it comes to religion, when it comes to all these things, I personally do not think dogma is the answer. I don't think being a pure vegan and doing everything by the book is the ticket to an awesome life. I think that there are so many other factors, like who are you as a person? How do you show up in your day-to-day life? What are your mental habits? Do you tend towards the positive, or are you kind of self-destructive and tear other people down? There are so many factors, as well as, what's your environment like? What's your social circle like? In your day-to-day routine, are you using a lot of plastics, but you're not eating animals? It's not all black and white, my friends. That's what I'm trying to say. And so I hope that offers some insights, I guess, into why I personally stopped being vegan after 8 years. In a nutshell, I decided that my health was more important than dogma, and that I couldn't ignore my own intuition in my body anymore, knowing that if I was going to be here for many decades to come, I need to nourish it, or else I would be miserable. And personally, yes, it might be selfish, but that's the way I've chosen to live my life, because I'm committed to health. And like I said before, health is not one size fits all. And honestly, I don't think it is a place for dogma either. And I'm hopeful that we as a species learn to shift out of that, because dogma, once again, just creates division and it perpetuates illusion, and we don't need that. We have opportunity to do better and focus on the things that we can do, like adding vegan meals to our diet, like getting more greens that way, adding green smoothies, caring for an animal, adopting it from the shelter, and then using less single-use plastics. I think that matters so much more than having a label and fitting other people's expectations. So that's it for now. I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your week, and I'll touch base soon. Bye.